Welcome to Vision Unveiled, the podcast, or rather, the episode where we're going to help you form dreams and transform them into vision, which will become your reality. It's probably going to take us about 2 hours, as it usually does. But yeah, the whole point of today's episode is not only to tell you the importance and how to set vision and goals, but also to give you some examples on how we did it. So, if you are someone who is a visionary, then you probably already have vision, and you just may need to you may need some help setting up your goals and the path to realizing that vision. But whoever you are, if you're trying to achieve something, vision and goals are a must. So now to you, Seb.
Yes. Well, in this episode today, we'll be going over, just like you said, goals and vision. We'll be stressing the importance of goals and vision as to why they are the paramount, the pinnacle to your short term and long term success. We'll be going over a few practices. I have a bunch of notes, practical practices, which will replace your bad ones and start bringing in new ones. So you can shift your world. So you can almost shift your entire habit plethora so that you can achieve whatever you want because you will need to set the goals in whatever niche, whatever specific territory that you want to achieve. That's the periphery. That's the superficial of it. We'll be going into the depths of goals, why they're so important, vision, and why that's so important. How to basically control your environment, control your habits, and create a future that you actually want.
Okay, perfect. So now that we've both done the introduction, I will also throw in that, as per usual, we're gonna provide a lot of psychophilosophical wisdom in there. So it's not just gonna be very rigid goals and some theory, but it's actually gonna be again mixed with philosophy and psychology so that you can understand how they actually work, not like how the how works. So if that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay,
awesome.
perfect. So yeah, let us start with the importance. Why?
Yeah.
So tell me, Seb, tell me,
Mhm.
why do we need goals?
Well, if you don't have any goals, then what exactly are you working towards? You may be on a job somewhere, you may be in college or university, you may be in school, you may be working from home, trying to create something, trying to be entrepreneur. But if you have no goals, then you have no idea what you're working towards. That will leave you astray to dilute your focus. That will lead you astray to not knowing what to do. It will leave you stressed. It will leave you up at night. Goals is like a combination of all the things which you want to achieve, set in a place where you can have it in this, have it in zone, so you know what to work towards. Basically, it's the pinnacle, the paramount for you to know what to work on, for you to know who to work with, for you to know what to do at what phase, sorry. And they clarify it all, right? They give you the vision, and we're also going into vision, of course, but they give you a understanding of what you're doing and why you're doing it, and that's incredibly important.
Yes, and I think that one of the important things to shoot straight off, is to actually separate vision and goals because
Yes.
they're two very different things, even though on paper they look the same. So before I go into my rant on vision and goals and what's the difference and what's each and every one of these, can you please tell me, Seb, your definition or your differentiation between
Yeah.
vision and goals?
Okay. The way I see it is vision is your entire roadmap, and goals are your your little steps on the roadmap. Okay, so if you have a big piece of paper and the vision is like, you can almost say end goal, but the vision is the entire life that you want to create for yourself, the entire life and the relationships and whatnot you want. The goals are the stepping stones to reaching the vision. The vision is, well, what do you actually want out of life? And goals is, okay, if I do these 5 to 10 goals and I complete them, well, then I'm closer to my vision. If you have a
Mhm.
big roadmap, then vision is your big roadmap, and goals are your small
Mhm.
stepping stones on that roadmap.
So let me share how I, because I see in the way you describe vision, I saw the exact problem I ran into. So let me elaborate on it. So you said that vision is supposedly a roadmap for your life, right? But
For what you
then
want to achieve, yeah.
yeah, but then we come to a problem. What if even though you perceived your vision as your purpose and everything that you ever wanted, what if it's not the end, right?
Hmm.
So for that reason, I came up with a concept of chapters of life. So basically, for us, we are so young that I want to set lifetime goals, but in reality, most goals that I want to set for lifetime seem possible in half of a lifetime, right? So for that reason, like I said, I came up with a idea of chapters. So I want to say it in a way where a chapter is basically one lifetime within your like universal lifetime, right? So we're trying to come across or trying to realize the idea that you're going to live at least 2 or 3 lifetimes within this lifetime. And it's not in a sense where you're gonna actually die and have like 3 lifetimes, but it's like if we are planning on doing like hardcore biohacking and truly taking care of our body, and let's say that nothing goes wrong and we'll do live for 130 years. Now, between you and I know that even a week seems so much time, right? So for that reason, I don't want to set a vision which would take me 130 years to accomplish. I would rather set a vision that is like until I'm 40 years of age. So that is one chapter of my life. It's from now to 40 or to 32 or 38. Like the concept is that you find what's the longest time frame that you can look at, and that will be your chapter, right? So there are certain things which you can say, these are the things I want to achieve somewhere at some point in my life, right? So that can be things like, I don't know, family, having children, like, but at the same time, I don't want to plan those things at this point because I don't know how much can I actually achieve. And in the previous podcast, we already discussed that the only limit you should set upon yourself is that you have no limits.
Yeah.
So you have to be careful that your vision is not gonna limit you. And for that reason, again, I have created the idea or the concept of chapters. So when I set a vision for current chapter of my life, and I decided that based on the movement of markets and sort of how I see the whole economy heading, my vision is more or less long or is for the next 12, 24 years. I don't know how many years, but basically the chapter that I'm planning right now, the vision right now is until somewhere around 2035. And after that, I will be able to improve vision, right? So rather than constantly change and modify and adjust vision, I decided to set one that will include this chapter of my life. And when I get to the towards the end of this chapter, I will adjust and modify more severely based on where I am, if that makes sense.
Yes, of course. There's going to be multiple roadmaps in your life. Once you achieve something and you're 40, and then you realize, well, I want to do something else. Well, a whole
Yeah.
new roadmap appears,
Yeah.
and
Exactly.
it's going to appear because of experience, and because of circumstances, and because of just things happening to you, which makes you realize that you want to go some other way, or you want to
Bigger.
try something else, or you want to expand in this area or other. So absolutely, this concept of chapters in life, you could almost say, yes, you can change and you can shape your chapters, but they come as they come, I guess, right? You can make your chapter now for the next 10, 15, 20 years, but you never truly know what you want then, right? And then they start to come up, and then you can plan then. So yes, I don't think, like you said, I don't think you should think in 100 years timeline, because that
And
becomes extremely systemized.
you shouldn't think in absolutes. So you should have flexibility and you should be able, because most people are like, oh, why are you planning for 30 years in advance? Like, you know how many things can change in that time frame. It's like, yeah, I completely understand. That's why it's a direction, it's a pointer. It's not something that I'm claiming that's going to happen word for word, even though I'm trying to make it so, right?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
So that's the periphery. We've gone over, well, we've gone over a bit of why they're so important, these visions and goals, and we've gone over what our definition is. So if you could set goal, the word goal in stone, what would it mean to you, and what would it mean to you think everybody else?
Can you repeat the question, please?
If you should set goal, the word goal in stone, like what is goal? What is a goal?
Okay, so again, let me introduce a vivid picture so that the picture can, so the symbolism can define the word goal, okay? And after everything, we're gonna draw a bottom line and I'm gonna say it. So you already mentioned a little bit about it, but let me again, everyone who's listening, if you're not driving a car and if you can, close your eyes and I want you to imagine a ship. And the ship is currently in a port. So when a ship has to go somewhere, it usually doesn't just go and let the flow of the sea take it, but it has what? A destination, right? And the destination is the goal. And if ship wouldn't have a goal, if a ship wouldn't have the destination, then how can it reach it? How can something reach its goal if the goal is non-existent?
Yeah,
So that's the terms I want you to think goals and or rather maybe vision as, right? Because the vision of the ship is to get to the place B, right? Because it's right now at place A, and the vision is to end up at place B. And let's say that goals can be more or less the bigger markers on the way. But again, even a vision is in the true sense a goal, right? So
yeah,
so basically a goal for me is a compass. It's something that is giving me guidance to the destination, which is also a goal. So the place B is a vision, but it's also a goal, and the goals themselves are the stepping stones to that vision. So basically, again, let's hammer it home. Vision is a goal, but it's the end goal, and goals are more or less a compass leading you to that vision.
yes.
So in general, goals are more or less the tool which helps you achieve whatever you set yourself to achieve.
And goals and visions give you clarity. They give you the space in your mind to look at, okay, I need to do this at this time for this long, and then I can possibly achieve this, much greater probabilities. So yes, it's a compass, and the vision can be a goal itself, but it's a big roadmap, and the
Yeah.
roadmap changes and forms as time goes on. I want you to give me almost this a list just on the top of your head. What are some of the biggest habits that keeps people weak in order to not reach their goals?
Well, number one is not having a clear goal.
Yeah.
But the second problem, and I don't want to get too deep into it, just because it's a whole discussion in itself, is the difference between goals which are measurable, so they are quantifiable, and goals that are more subjective. So I think that one of the biggest downfall of people is setting goals that are so vague. Like, let's imagine that we are doing a project for AI, and I set a goal that in the future I want to accomplish one project. It's like, what the hell do you mean by that? What project? How soon? How big? How, everything has to be defined. The deeper clarity you have, the easier it is to achieve it because it
Yes.
seems possible, right? So, one of the biggest things besides direction and focus of the goals is number one, motivation and commitment. And number two, it is measurable progress and achievement. Because again, if you don't know whether you're moving in the right direction or not, then how do you know that you're moving at all?
Yeah. Absolutely. It's a weird one because these vague goals can become extremely easy to produce, right? You can sit down with a piece of paper and you can write, well, I want to be a millionaire.
Yeah.
Okay, well, how soon, when do you want to be a millionaire? Like, what is the deadline, first of all? How do you want to get it? Again, how fast do you want to get it? In which way do you want to get it? With which people do you want to get it? Where do you want to live when you're a millionaire?
Mm,
Being able to map out as much as possible of the roadmap to being a millionaire will help you immensely, right? It will
mm,
create this clarity, will create this vision of, first of all, your why. Why are you even doing it? Second of all, the how, and then where and with who, right? So tell me just the importance of specifying, like in deep detail. Don't just go superficial, just go in the depths of it. How important is that?
So before answering that, I'm gonna set a second question for you. So and then we're gonna get back to this because it's gonna make even more sense. And we already discussed the basic whys you need to set your goal, but in a collective sense, when it comes to society and other players of the game of life, can you tell me what do goals protect you from?
What goals protect you from is, if you're on the ship, it protects you from sailing to the entirely false direction, to the entirely opposite good direction. As well, the goal sets you. It's almost the goal is almost like a pinpoint in your head. Like you know where to go. Now you just need to figure out how to get there.
Yeah. So the thing I was trying to point out more specifically was that if you do not set goals for yourself, you're gonna become a part of someone else's goal. So most people because the problem comes to back to the origin and inherent nature of man. And we people, we humans are striving to do progress. We are a goal-based, animals. And again, we have to have an objective. If we don't have an objective, our life is meaningless. It doesn't matter what your goal is, you have to have a goal because otherwise there is no reason for your existence. But we all like, even people who say I don't have a goal because I just want to enjoy my life to the fullest and live however I want. That's a goal. It's a
Yeah, of
goal
course.
because you're striving to do something, right? And that's to
Yes.
do something in that case is to live without a care in the world. But again, the problem comes when you don't set goals for yourself and then you have your parents set goals for you. You have to complete such and such school, you have to finish such and such college, you have to get a job, you have to get married. And it's like, are those truly your goals or did someone else set them for you? Now, I think
Yes.
that truly paints the importance of what can happen if you don't set goals for yourself mindfully, consciously.
Absolutely. Your teachers, your friends, your influences, the media, TV, your parents, your sisters, siblings. If you don't control and if you don't program yourself, someone else will.
Yeah,
This ties back into you're literally the average of the five people you spend the most time with.
yeah,
But this also ties into the people around you, what they want out of you, because every single human being acts in accordance to what they can get, right? They don't do anything just for the sake of doing it, just for the sake of being nice. Yes, you can, of course, but the innate human nature is to retrieve some kind of value or benefit out of it,
in
right? And
return.
yes, and the people around you, they will persuade you, they will get you to do things so they can benefit. And that means you, well, first of all, aren't autonomous and you aren't striving for the goals which you want to achieve. So again, it goes back to start meditating, start being alone, go to solitude, figure out what you want to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And so we can basically define with one word, because that's what you asked me before, to define what goal is with one word, we can say very simply it is an objective that you're trying to accomplish, right? And it's basically the word goal itself comes out of the English term goal, which basically means boundary or limit, right?
Yeah,
So in that context, uh, it's more or less signifying that that is where you're gonna stop because, right, it's a limit, it's a boundary, if that makes sense.
yeah. So after you've reached a goal, how important is it then to set new goals on a higher basis?
Well, after you reach a goal, you're basically back to being purposeless, meaningless. That's why you can see so many people set goals like I was listening to Sam Ovens and a few other uber successful people, and they said, my first goal was to make $100,000, but in the same moment as like up until I had $100,000, I was waking up at 5 a.m. I was working 18-hour, 20-hour days. But at the same point as I reached those $100,000, I forgot about all my habits. I forgot about, like, I couldn't care less about the business because I've reached my objective.
Mhm.
So when it comes down to, let's say, for instance, Anomaly Incubator, we didn't set a goal of, I don't know, getting 1,000 students because what does that do for us, right? After getting 1,000 students, we're gonna be like, well, the purpose of AI was fulfilled. Let's move on. Let's move on to something else.
Yes.
And that's going to be also a part which we are going to discuss, where you set goals that are impossible to achieve within a lifetime, which is basically a part of vision. But we basically tried to set goals even for Anomaly Incubator where they don't actually have a measurable result, but they always push us. So we set something in a concept of perfection. And we know that in this world, we can never achieve perfection, but we can get very close to it. And the closer we get, the gap becomes infinitely larger as we get. So It's like the first 80% is very easy to accomplish, but the last 20% it's impossible to accomplish, right? Because every time you accomplish the 80% of the 20%, you're just getting into such small incremental improvements that you have on surface level achieved perfection from outsiders perspective point of view, but from your own you know that you're not yet perfect. So again, when it comes down to Anomaly Incubator, we have said that we want to distill information and provide highest quality information and become the world's apex for elite performers self-actualization. Now, the knowledge that can be spilled on the topic is infinite. So this is something that we're gonna like. We are here to stay. This is not a 1 year project, right?
Yeah.
So in that same way, even those goals that we did set that are measurable, that are quantifiable, these are not end goals. They are stepping stones. So we are always expecting to achieve a goal, and when we are more or less 99% at the goal, already have set a lot of other new goals.
Yes.
So it's of paramount importance, absolutely, to have goals after goals after goals and always grow and progress towards a ideal.
Yes, and I think it's extremely important to when you're close to reach a goal, or even when you're setting the goal, to set the same goal but in a higher manner, right? So if you
Mhm.
say I want to reach 10,000 a month by doing this and this and this, okay, then you say, okay, a year after I've reached that, I want to have 30,000 a month, right? And a year
Yeah,
after that, I want 50 to 100,000 a month. Okay, then you have these small goals, but then you have a big picture to strive for, which is a huge timeline in which you need to accomplish these small goals, stepping towards the big goal.
yeah,
So you can never have a end goal, right? That you can have a limit because you're going to fall down, stay stagnant, and it's like if when people set goals to achieve a body weight, right, a specific body weight, and when they reach it, they just get completely complacent and stay stagnant, and then they reach like extremely obese weights again. You can't have an end goal. It needs to be limitless. But
yeah,
then, what is the point of goals? Yeah, um, then the point of goals is to have measurable points, pinpoints where you can say, okay, I've reached this point. Now I need to go there, and that's why they're so paramount to success. They act as a clarification. They act as clarity to what you want.
yeah. And there's an interesting observation that you made, which is most people set goals, and usually it happens with this idiotic 30-day challenges, 75 hard. Like,
Yes.
this is what got us to the point where people think that after accomplishing a 75 hard challenge, you are something, but you're not. Because this is what keeps people in a sinus. I don't know what's it called in English. I think it's a sinus function, right? Where they're constantly ranging between the same two limits, right? But in reality, what they should do is escape, break free from those limits, and go on and explore what is possible. What
Yes.
is what is that, like, how good can my life get? What can I achieve? Like, you should be constantly asking yourself that, because again, if you look at society and the quote unquote norms of society, I remember the first time I mentioned to someone that I want to do $120,000 a year, and between both of us and most people watching, we know that's nothing. Like, that's
Yeah.
zero.
Yeah. That's
That's
nothing.
that's only 10K a month, right?
Mm.
And I remember mentioning that to someone, and they were like, "You're delusional. Like, that's impossible." And I was like, you're telling me that 120,000 is impossible, while there are people there out there making 100,000 a day.
Yes.
Like, do you understand the scale of this
Yes.
game? The peop There is no limit. The only limit is zero, but that's downwards. Upwards, there is no limit. Because once you break the upwards limit, you're gonna break the system, and then a new game is gonna be played. And that's basically what's happening right now in our finances, right? Because the banks are breaking the system. They're printing so much money
Yeah.
that the game is going to reset, and we're gonna start playing a new chapter of the game.
Yes. I want to kind of move into kind of clarifying vision. So how important is clarity when we're talking about vision,
Mhm.
and how can other people influences, how negatively can they influence your core vision, and how can you break free from that trap?
So, when it comes to vision, the reason why you need a vision, and usually for your vision, you set an ideal, right? You set something that if you would achieve that, you would, be basically, you would be like, okay, I can die now, right? That's how big your vision should be. But you come to a problem where most people are so unconscious, they're so asleep that even the vision they set is has limits which were imposed on them by society. So when you are setting a vision, right? When you are trying to imagine when you're setting a vision, you should set it in a way where you are writing a letter to Santa. When you were a child and you were writing a letter to Santa, you wrote whatever you could possibly imagine. And that's how
Yeah.
people should set their vision, right? Because if you're going to set your vision based on the belief systems and the limitations that brought you to where you are today, then your
Mm.
vision is going to be, oh, I want to have a stable income. Like, no, no, Seb, please tell me, is that a goal that you and a vision that you want to wake up and be motivated to work towards?
I mean, of course not.
Imagine waking up in the morning and being like, ah, new day, I can finally get to barely making enough to make it to another paycheck. Like,
Yeah.
what kind of a vision is that? When I set a vision, and I know that when you set a vision, we want to disrupt reality. We want
Hmm.
to break the fabric of everything, and we just want to move mountains and do the impossible because that's something I want to wake up and I want to work towards, right?
Yes, of
What do
course.
you think?
What?
What do you think?
Yes. Vision and clarity of vision and not letting external influences influence you. It is very important, but it's also extremely difficult to avoid these
Yeah.
external influences. Like you have people all around you, technology all around you. How in the world are you going to let or to delete these external influences? And I don't think it's necessary to delete them, right? It's to control them. It's to control
Mhm.
what you consume, control who you're around, and you should choose to listen to things and be around people who have the same vision as you, who have the same ambition and work ethic as you, and that's only going to multiply your vision and clarity of
Mhm.
vision, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So
Nice.
one of the other things which plays a significant role in this is passion. And what are you actually interested in, right?
Yeah.
Because you don't want to set a vision, like, I mean, I guess you can, but again, you're trying to write a letter to Santa, not, something which has limits. So don't set a vision like, again, I'm not trying to tell you what to do, I'm just trying to inspire you to think bigger. So don't try to set a vision like I want to be the top employee of the month in my company. Because that's, I mean, sure, you can set that, but why don't you try and set something? So I think it was Bob Marley who said it first, like, love what you do and do what you love. And
Hmm.
then Steve Jobs also hinted that passion is required to do the impossible so that
Yeah.
you don't give up like any other rational person, right? Because when you set vision, you want to be irrational.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yes. Let's move on to what goals you have for your personal life and for Anomaly Incubator, but also how you structure them. What
Yeah.
kind of practices do you do when you set goals, and how in depth do you go? Do you meditate? Do you go on a walk and then figure out your goals? Tell the audience like how you do.
Well, I'm gonna break down the areas and I'm gonna break down those things, and then you're gonna tell people how you said them, okay? So
Got it.
that you're gonna do all the talking. But yeah, the first thing, like this is the most important thing, which Seb already mentioned. Decide exactly what you want in every area of your life. So when we are setting a vision, when we are setting a goals, you want to set it, we want to set it for everything. For your income, which consists of your career, position, earnings, what business, what partners do you have? Then, on the other hand, you have family. So, what relationships do you want to nurture? Lifestyle, vacations. Then you have health. So, how are you going to approach health? What is your ideal weight? What is your exercise ability? What are your energy levels like? How immune are you? Like genuinely try and break down everything, even things like net worth and everything. So try to set absurd clarity
Yes.
in each and every area. And again, lifelong goals are the thing that you should focus on because they are your direction, and then short-term goals are your navigation to achieving that.
Yes.
So, how do you go about setting goals? What is your process to set proper goals?
Yes. So the way as it goes right now is I write down my 10 goals each morning after waking up. That's not the real kind of practice that I do. I do that to clarify and to get my mind deep entrenched in the goals which I actually want. And I kind of see how it spires out, right? I kind of see how
Yeah.
it branches out, the description,
Sorry
etc.
to sorry to interrupt. Yes, I understand that, but that's more after you already have goals. Now,
Yes.
the question at hand is, how do you come to design goals? So tell me, Seb, how did you design a vision and
Yes.
how did you design a roadmap for yourself?
Let me tell you. I actually made one. I have one here in my notes as well. It all comes with an idea, right? It all comes with a thought. It all starts with a thought. A single seed which grows in your mind. It's I want something more. It's I want to be wealthy. It's I want to be healthy. It all starts with that idea. You need to figure out the root cause, the root problem first, and then you spy out. You set it in stone first. You say, what is my ultimate goal? What do I want? What is the big picture? Okay. After you have that, let's say I want to be extremely healthy in 1 year. I want to be wealthy. I want to increase my connections. I want to have a better relationship with my family, etc. You have your ultimate goal, the ultimate stone definition here. Then you branch out. Then you say, okay, well, what is my purpose and how does it link to it? What is my mission and how does it link to it? Um, you start to connect the dots. You start to connect the dots. You say vision. How can I see this playing out? You say how. How can I do it? What are all the qualities that I need to achieve this specific goal? You say beliefs. What beliefs do I have right now, which will push me forward to the goal, and which beliefs is holding me back? Principles. What are my principles right now, and how do I need to form them? How do I need to shape them in order to reach these goals? You say, then you make a mind map. You say, how are the different approaches to it? How many different approaches is there to reach the same goal, and which one do I like, and which one is the most suited for me? You make a mind map, and you list all out the pros and list all out the cons, and you find the way which makes sense for you so you have complete clarity. Get a big notepad, get A4 notebook, and then use 5, 10, 15 sites just to read out, list out all the things which can benefit you, which can't, how you want to get it, your big definite goal, etc. You need to get it all in stone as deep as possible to firstly set it in stone in your mind, but also to clarify it for yourself, right? You need to know what to do. You can't just say, I want to be healthy. Okay, well, how do you get healthy? What do you need, and what is specific to you that you need to do that others may not do? How can you sustain it, right? When you reach a goal, how sustainable is it? What is your diet like right now, which is sustainable? And if it's not, then what do you need to change, etc.? What are some of the roadblocks that can come in the way, and how do you need to overcome them, right? What winds and what waves can cause my ship to shift out of the way? You need to get it all down. So how I do is I take 1, 2 hours of my time to do a what I call think block. I have nothing in my ears, I have nothing in my eyes, I have nothing in my mouth. I sit down and I have a piece of paper and I write down and I just start with the overarching goal. What do I want? And then I branch out of it and I just brainstorm. I just write as much as I can. And then I take them into account. I say, okay, benefits, beliefs, principles, the how, the why, the when, the where, etc. The main like overarching thing here is you just need to take time to actually go in depth with it.
Absolutely. And as you talk about these things, I already see that we will have to do another episode specifically on how to attain your purpose and how to, how do you actually find what you should strive towards. So how to set mission and how to actually discover why are you here.
Yes.
But it's a little bit too far off the topic because it has so many details. And the second thing would be, I don't, I forgot. I just wanted to add something on to you because you were, damn it, absolutely. My mind just went blank.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, it is about what you said. It is about basically starting off with a single question and
Yes.
allowing yourself to spiral into a brainstorm session where you don't have any inputs and
Yes.
you just write, write, and write. Because one of the most important things is to have your goals written on paper.
Yes.
Yeah, so um, let's go a little bit back to the vision itself. So
Hmm.
tell me how long did it take you? Yeah, all right. This sorry, before I answer finish the question. The second thing I wanted to say when you were speaking is that finding your own purpose and shaping your own vision is not a one day thing.
Oh yeah, of course.
It takes a hell of a lot of a time.
Yes.
So you can expect this to be a so I'm gonna give you an example for me. So for me personally, it took around 8 months or something for me to have supreme clarity. So
Yeah.
this is, I know this is going already into extremes, but again, are we here to half-ass things or are we here to disrupt reality, right?
Hmm.
Then people are like, yo, but what am I supposed to do in those, like, work on something. Like, you will have a clarity. So, for instance, I started out, I wrote down, I want to be a billionaire, I want to do this, that.
Yes.
And you already have your first goals and clarity and shaping then the vision, the mission, and what you're like. I want people to understand that Anomaly Incubator is developed out of a project which was called Interstellar Focus, which most people don't know about. But Anomaly Incubator used to be something completely different, but it was a stepping stone which led me to the creation of the Anomaly Incubator and the vision for it. But
Mhm.
again, I started working on Interstellar Focus or Anomaly Incubator in April, or yeah, in April, or actually I think it was March of 2023. So that means that because Anomaly Incubator only came together in November, it took me
Mhm.
more or less a whole year to clarify what I'm trying to do, what's my purpose, how I want to do it, and then God sent me you so that we could do it together.
Mhm. Yes, of course. It's going in depth. It's meditating and it's being out in nature and it's going in depth to find who you are. And in our 9 lesson podcast we did the other day, one of the
Yeah,
first things was to find yourself, right? It was to find out who you are. And to be able to do that, well, you need solitude. You need, and this also applies to goals, your vision. Don't rush this because this is incredibly important. The ripple effect your vision and goals have on the rest of your life is incredible, right? If you choose a wrong vision, your life can spiral to a completely different route, a completely different
yeah,
C route. Just taking the time.
absolutely. Absolutely. And for those people, like we are sort of trying to structure our podcasts and lessons in a chronological order. So if you didn't yet watch the reflection on 2023, it's a perfect foundation for you to then branch out into the goals and vision. Um,
Yes.
but yeah, my question was going back to the vision itself, right? So
Mm.
again, we discussed that it takes time to shape it, but how did you come across your vision? Did you, I don't know, find it underneath your couch, or how did you come across your vision?
Yes. It's for a long time, my vision was very vague, and that reflects. Okay, that reflects because your vision and mission and purpose and goal reflects your actions. Your values and beliefs reflect your actions, or your actions reflect your values and beliefs. So let's say you talk to yourself about becoming healthy, but then you go and eat at McDonald's every week or something, right? And you have sweets in there. Well, then your actions contradict your beliefs, and they can't do that. It's because you don't believe that health is important to you, and it's because you don't truly believe that you want health. So it's for me, my actions for a long time contradicted what I wanted, but it took a very long time to figure it out. Right, I had to go do mistakes, find different people, etc. And at one time, it just clicked. Once I got out of a environment that I was in and got home and I was in complete solitude. That's when it clicked. That's when I found it. Just then, it clicked for me, right? It's almost like that was the golden key. Removing myself from noise and removing myself from a bad environment was almost the key from unlocking the treasure chest where my purpose and where my vision lied. That's just kind of the superficial.
Absolutely. So just to build on top of what you've said, when for me the way I found or the way I came across my vision is I went and I seeked in my past what are the things I enjoyed most doing. So I constantly went and I asked myself, when was I the happiest? What was I doing? Like, and not like necessarily the specific thing, not the variable, but the formula. And what I realized is that I was the happiest when I was helping people make progress in the same areas as I strove to do so. So, for instance, I tried to figure out how to trade or how to run a business, and I wanted to do the same, or I wanted to help people who are trying to do the same but struggling achieve that. So when it comes, let's say, for something else, let's say for biohacking, right? I
Yeah.
spent 2 freaking years studying every day, in and out, to actually achieve a supreme health, which I have now. And it's about consistency and dedication. So this is the thing I talked to or I told you about before we started recording, that I have a story for you, right? So
Yeah.
when it comes to one of my biggest goals, it is to be a biohacker, right? And that like branches out into a lot of different things. But one of the goals, as we discussed, is for me to fast 22 hours on daily basis.
Yeah.
And for those people listening, we were supposed to start recording our podcast in the early mornings around 8 o'clock in the morning, but then Seb had a little bit of problems with his environment, so he said, "Let's do it at 10." and, and I woke up at 5 a.m. today, so and I didn't eat for since yesterday, since 1 o'clock, so I was freaking starving and my plan was to record a podcast and then make something to eat afterwards. But what happened was you said to me, okay, let's do it in an hour. And my
Mm.
mind just went, let's go and eat something. And I absolutely love cooking, right? So I
Mm.
adore cooking. I love eating good, high quality food. And even though I was supposed to be on fast for 22 hours, I had to go and make something good for myself to eat, to enjoy. That's why we actually started a little bit later. But my point with this story is you, like, people start to judge you. It's like, didn't you say that you had to do 22-hour fast every day? And it's like, yeah, but I want you to understand that for the past 8 months, I think I didn't fast for about 5 to 10% of the time. So
Mm.
at 90%, success rate when it comes to, fasting and everything. So 30 times 8 is 240 times. So 240 days of this rule. And I didn't fast for 24 days. Like, I want you to understand that. So
Yes.
out of 8 months, there's been less than 1 month spread out of over that 1 month that I didn't fast for 22 hours or more. So it's like there is nothing wrong because you're striving for perfection, but you have enough self love and self acceptance to be flexible and adapt. And some days you just can't do it. And you say, okay, today I'm not gonna, beat myself for it, but I'm actually gonna spend my time enjoying breaking my rule. And you have to be very careful with that, of course, because we actually spoke a little bit about this in our previous podcast. Like the people who set themselves on being sober because they drank too much alcohol, one drink can get them back into being alcoholics. So that's
Yes.
a different story. That's genuinely a problem. But when it comes to goals, as the one I described, let's say, for instance, that your goal is that, I don't know, you never want to eat McDonald's again. Like if
Mm.
you do it once every month, but it's not about setting like a day that you're gonna do it, but like when you are transitioning, because you have to understand that when you are setting a goal, you're basically trying to do something that you have not managed to consistently do up till this point, right? And to put it in perspective, it's like I doubt that someone has a goal of brushing their teeth every morning because it's more or less ingrained into our personality. We usually go, I mean, the people who have proper hygiene, we don't have to set a goal to brush our teeth every day, right?
Yes.
And it's the same way for a lot of other things, but when it comes to transforming who you are, you're trying to transition into a new persona, into a new me. So again, you should not. be too hard on yourself because you're gonna break down. So when it comes to quote unquote cheat meals or cheat days, you shouldn't plan them, but when they come around, understand that it's better to love yourself and to be like, okay, you managed to go 7 days without it, so let's go. And today I don't have the willpower. Like I've had the willpower for the past 14 days, so let's take it easy today. But still limit it. Don't kill yourself with it, but enjoy it. Be mindful. So if you haven't eaten like McDonald's or something in months, and then you have an enormous craving, then order your favorite food and sit down. Don't watch no television, nothing, but just be mindful of what shit food you actually like. um, and yeah, you're gonna find out a greater clarity, and you're gonna start to remember why you didn't want to do those things in the first place.
Yeah,
Hope it makes sense.
that's a big one. I think what you just gone over, I'm the complete opposite, right? I don't let myself go in, never. I don't care how I feel, etc. But that's just my perspective, and that's how I have evolved, and that's how I work. Um, but this thing about the last bit, that being mindful of it when you then have it, and then understand that you didn't understand that the first mindset around it, why you didn't want it in the first place. So let's say you want to stop eating McDonald's, for this example.
Yeah,
You want that there was a reason at the start why you didn't want to, right? It may be destroying your health. It may be making you feel bad or you may overeat it. You may just overeat it too much. There was a reason, a core reason at the start why you didn't want to. And you forget that once it's gone, right? You start to crave it and you start to want it. But then when you have it again, you start to realize, okay, well, this is what I found first time that I didn't like, and I still don't like it. Okay, well, this ingrains more in my mind that I don't like it, and that can sometimes be a benefactor, right? So I struggled with it a lot at first. I struggled with it a lot at first, and when my environment just shifts, I became a completely new person. But when I did struggle with it, um, you would find out that when you took a bunch of nicotine, like too early in the morning, you would just feel like absolute crap. And and, and the next morning you would do the exact same thing because you want the rush. Want the rush, but you figured out that once you took it again, well, you feel like crap. And
yeah, and it's about being present, right? The thing
yes,
that you mentioned, it's so important. Like understand, because let's go back to the biohacking principles and everything. It's, for instance, when it comes to like junk food and fast food, it's, you are not being mindful, because if you go, let's say, for 30 days, or let's say that you even manage to go for 60 days without fast food, and then the next time you eat it, like I said, allow yourself to do it, but when you do it, be mindful, because what's going to happen, you're going to think to yourself, okay, like it tastes good in the mouth, but I can already feel the damage in the body. Like
yes,
my digestive system is rejecting it. I feel shit. My energy input is bad, and it's gonna, like, if you will be present in the moment when you're doing the bad habit, you're gonna understand why the person you're trying to be is that's not a habit which that person possesses.
hmm,
It's presence, it's mindfulness, it's about sitting there and being like, what the hell was I thinking that I ate this on daily or weekly basis?
yeah. And specifically with food, I typically, well, I don't really go off it, but something I remember someone said is that if you eat something today, are you going to feel it tomorrow morning? And you are going to taste it, or you are going to smell it in tomorrow morning, but your body and your function and your organs and your brain is going to feed off of what you ate the last day before, right? You aren't going to smell it, you aren't going to taste it, you aren't going to you are going to sit and smell it, but you can taste it or smell it once it's in your body, but your mind, your body, and your functions of your body will feed off of it. So it's asking yourself, well, what do I want? Do I want a healthy body, functioning, productive brain, or do I want to feel good in the moment? Circles back to delayed gratification. It's asking yourself, it's finding the root cause. If you have struggled with substance abuse, or if you have struggled with eating, overeating, or anything, that's a root cause for it all. That is a root cause for it all, and a goal and a vision may even be to find that root cause, so you can start to work on it to develop out of it. Right?
Absolutely, that's a good point. Your first goal or your first purpose or your first vision, mission could be finding what your goals and mission is.
Yes.
But this brings me to a saying, which again, I'm not very religious. I mean, I'm not religious at all, but it's the what would Jesus do, right?
Hmm.
And it's about understanding the formula again, not the variables. And if we dissect the formula of the sentence, what would Jesus do? Then, for instance, the ideal person I'm trying to embody, which is gonna take me approximately one chapter to reach, is the Justi, right? The Justi X, everything that involves becoming that person, which I call he or him.
Hmm.
And it's asking, so when I move through my day, it's living from the end state outwards. So I go and I basically, let's say for instance, I am in the shop and I see some of the chocolate and some of the sweets I really used to like back when I was, smoking every day. And I remember how amazing it feels to just stuff your mouth with that, like the instant dopamine, the instant pleasure, instant gratification. It's so amazing. But then I ask myself, what would Justi do? Again, the formula, right? What would Jesus do? But you replace the Jesus with the ideal vision that you're trying to embody. So you
Hmm.
ask yourself, what would that ideal person I'm trying to become do? And if that person would not take the sweets, if that person would take vegetables, fruits, and meat and go out of the store, then you do that. And you try to live from the ideal out,
Yes, of
living
course.
from that ideal, from that end state.
Hmm. That's a big one. You need to see, you need to clearly see in your mind a picture of who you want to be at a certain date. So let's say at 30 years old or 40 years old, you want to live here with this person, with this life, in this environment, with this amount of money, with this material thing, whatever it might be. Look at him and visualize him in your mind, and then say to yourself, what did he do, and what is he doing right now to get that and keep it, and then branch out of it, saying, well, if he did this and this and this and this, then I need to do it. I can't do the opposite. Then I will get the opposite, and I don't want the opposite, right? Again, getting to the root cause. What do you need to do in order to get X, Y, and Z? So yes,
Yeah,
crucial.
yeah, absolutely. Now, I have a question for you, Seb.
Yeah.
How do you stay on track? How do you ensure that your goals are hit? Because I know that there are a lot of people out there who set goals and actually spend time thinking about them and setting them, but then they don't achieve them, they forget them. So, what are your systems, mechanisms, and tools to hit your targets?
Yes. So one thing I stress a lot in my own brain is awareness. It's being aware that everything you do will impact your life, and will impact your brain, etc. You need to be aware that everything you do can either pull you away or attract you towards your goal. Right? That's one of the first things. The second thing is clarity. If you aren't enough experienced this a lot myself, you may have a big task in front of you, a big task. And there's so many small components that need to be done in order for it to be complete, right? But you have no idea. You have no idea where to start. You have no idea what to do next. You have no idea what to do tomorrow and this evening and when to contact and who to contact. You need to set in stone what to do when. This isn't just doing a daily task list. This is doing, okay, this is the most important thing that I need to do first to get a big chunk of that goal done. What small things do I then need to do afterwards? First is awareness. Be aware that everything you do, every single thing you do and say and think and utter from your mouth either pulls you towards or pulls you away from your goal. Second is clarity. Clarity, have clear, concise vision and have clear goals, small micro goals to hit the big goal. And that's just figuring out the root cause again. Like, how do you get to the goal? Other things can be habit trackers or it can be accountability partners. That's not something I do as much. I don't do accountability partner. I'm my own accountability partner. I have someone to be accountable to, and I need to reach it. Okay, I just need to reach it, and you need to, because if you have this mindset of, okay, I can reach it but I don't really need to, well, why would you in reality ever do it, right? You need to reach it. You have to have that why behind it.
Yeah, but I want to point you to the one thing I was expecting you to say, which is the daily reiteration in the morning and
Oh,
evening.
yeah, of
Tell
course.
me about that.
Yes. So my morning routine usually compounds of one, three, four, five things. And I get up. I don't check my phone until I seriously don't even check my phone anymore. It's close that I don't even use it because I do more work on my computer. But I wake up, I do my prayers, then I go out and brush my teeth. I make my bed, and then I stretch, and then I read a chapter in the Bible, and then I write out each morning a piece of paper my 10 goals. And there's a few reasons for this. And when you do it, you flip the page before the evening before, so you can't see your earlier goals. You try to reiterate them. When I make these goals, you open up the notebook and you just write one and whatever comes to mind. What goal do you want? Two, whatever goal do you want? Three, whatever goal do you want? And that expression and that reiteration, daily iteration of setting these goals in straight paper by your hand, written by you, deepens it. It does something to your mind. It makes you aware. Going back to awareness, it makes you aware that you need to get these goals. It makes you aware how much you want to do these goals. It makes you aware that I want this. I want this. I do it each morning, and it doesn't take long. It takes me 5 to 10 minutes to write out these 5 to 10 goals and make small descriptions. Say I want this by this time, and this is my beliefs around it. This is how I'm going to do it.
Can you tell me? Can you tell me from a psycho-philosophical perspective why is so important to set goals two times or to go over your goals 2 times a day?
Yes, there's a few reasons, and I think we can kind of specify this. Writing it in your hand on a piece of paper with a pen is so much better than on a computer, just because you literally write it out with your hand instead of just typing it with your fingers. But it's this thing of keep getting it in your brain before dream state and just after dream state because you suck it in your subconscious, which means your mind is always aware of it. Every time you reiterate them and you reread them and you rewrite them, you suck them deeper and deeper and deeper into your brain, which means you will remember them faster, quicker, easier, which means also you have them in mind when you do your things and etc., which means you can act on them. But it's getting them in the brain, keeping them in the brain, and keep reiterating them because it sucks down in your subconscious, and then it will come into your superconscious. It will be at the fourth of your brain, which is just incredibly important.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's a very good answer. Now, I still have um, a question for you,
Yeah, go ahead.
or another something. Another more deep question.
Yeah.
So I want to ask you about the multiverse theory of goals. So we go a little bit into the things that people usually don't talk, right? I
Yeah,
want
of
to
course.
hear if there, because these are sort of the stupid things that I spend my time doing because I just find them interesting, but I think that they are very fun to end our podcast on, right?
Yeah.
So one is this multiverse theory of goals. So if multiple realities of universe exist as suggested, right, by some interpretation of quantum mechanics, then how does each choice and goal in our current reality influence or create parallel universes or with alternate versions of ourselves, right? And the thing I'm trying to point at here is tell me about a little bit about your perspective on law of attraction and how do you see that work?
Yes. There's a few ways we can go about law of attraction because many people say it's real. Many people say that it's crap. Many people say that it all stems from the mindset, and some people say it's not the mindset; it's just the action, right? And I kind of combine both of them because I would say that you can't do any action. You can't do any real action without actually thinking about it first, right? If you want to do a business, you have to first get in your mind the thought of making a business. Otherwise, you will never, ever, ever start. It will never cross your mind. Um, the law of attraction is a funny one because there's no such thing as manipulation and well just attracting it. You can't just say to yourself it, but it's the concept of saying it to yourself so many times that your actions become congruent with your words. Right? That's a big thing. It's knowing it so deeply and knowing it so confidently that every single action and every single thing you say and etc. is in conjunction, is in congruence with what you want. That's the law of attraction. It's having it so deep in your subconscious mind that your actions reflect it. And that's for me the law of attraction. Is you can't just say to yourself, "Oh, I want wealth," and just say it to yourself every single day, but without doing anything about it. But you can't do anything without having the first thought about it, right? So it's a combination of both.
Yeah, I absolutely I absolutely understand your perspective and law of attraction is something that is already on our list of podcasts because
Hmm.
it's such an important thing to discuss from the non-bullshit perspective
Yeah.
because I think that people have I think that the concept or the idea of law of attraction is as real as anything else, but the 98% of things that you see on the internet are complete and utter garbage, like absolute garbage. Um, and I'm not gonna go too deep into law of attraction because I'm very much passionate about it. I wrote a whole study on it again, from a very much non-bullshit perspective, rationalizing the things that I think that are true and rationalizing the things that I think that are not true. But just to add a little bit onto your idea, the law of attraction for today, let's say that the thing that you need to understand is that what Seb said is if you write down your goals 2 times a day, 3 times a day, you ingrain them into your subconscious mind. And your subconscious mind is the program, the operating system from which you live out. And then you also have the unconscious mind, but to for something to become a part of your unconscious mind, it has to become inherent to your subconscious programming. Um, but when it comes to law of attraction, I think that what happens is we all have seen an example that we wanted something and it seemed like it's nowhere around us. The example that people usually give is, you always wanted that red, I don't know, red uh, Subaru, let's say, because it's more common, and you
Yeah.
never see it on the road, and you stay for it, and then you buy it, and as you're driving on the road, all of a sudden you start seeing the red Subarus everywhere,
Yes.
right?
All over the place.
Yeah, and that's what I call, or that's one of the reason, or one of the ideas behind law of attraction, which I talked about. So, what happens in your own mind when it comes to law of attraction is when you nail a goal and a vision into your head, what happens is you all of a sudden start seeing opportunities all
Yeah.
around you that would bring you closer to your goals and to the accomplishment of the vision. So that's enough for the law of attraction for today, but it's the main principle I wanted to convey. So when you are drilling the goals into your subconscious and unconscious and conscious mind, when you're writing them out on paper 2 times a day, 3 times a day, what happens is you become more aware, more conscious, more observant of the things that would bring you closer to the goals that
Yes.
you set.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
And
that's what I wanted to add.
yes, we have gone over goals, vision, habits, now law of attraction, what to avoid, what to do, how to experiment with yourself, how to observe it, how to switch these dumb goals out with good goals, how deep they should be, how to set the root cause goal, how to find the root cause. We've gone over so much already. And to be honest, I don't think I have much time left. Um, but if you would summarize this, what is the most important thing for people to start setting good or better goals in order to reach their end with paraphrasing, but end goal? What is the most important thing?
So, like I said, when it comes to big or long term, it is vision. When it comes to medium term, are goals or stepping stones. And the next podcast we're doing on Wednesday next week are habits and routines. So those
Yeah.
are micro goals and micro mechanisms which
Yes.
allow you to achieve goals. So there, basically, we are going over a long time frame today, and the next time we're going over the short time frame. But to summarize today, I would say number one, there is no going around clarity. Clarity makes things possible. So, whatever you do, be as clear as possible. Decide exactly how much, how soon, how long, how short, how tall, how beautiful, how ugly, how rich, how poor, how abundant, how everything you want it to be. Then have again all time frames covered. So the chapter or the vision, the goals or the stepping stones, and then breaking it down into as much detail as possible. So when I say that, I mean if your chapter is, let's say, 10 years long, then break it down into 1 year, and that 1 year break it down into quarters, and that quarters break them down into months, and that months break them down into weeks. Have everything covered. Um, and I think those are probably the single most important things when it comes to goals.
Yes. Yes.
Now,
A,
what
a
about your
very
conclusion?
go ahead.
What about your conclusion? What
Yeah.
is your bottom line?
Yeah. So first, I want to say it's incredible what some of what you just said. Habits and routines fire goals and visions, and goals and visions fire long-term achievements. That's huge. We've just broken down how to achieve what you want. That's huge.
Yeah.
the bottom line of my thing is goals is what you need to do is find a root cause. You need to find a root cause, because look at it as a pyramid scheme. Okay, at the top is the root cause. The top is the root cause, and before you clear the top, you cannot go down and down and down into the bigger stages, because if you do so, you will spiral. You will spiral out of control. You will not know what to do. You will do the wrong things. You will end up miserable and depressed and sad and whatnot. Right? You need to find a root cause, and I think if people are just starting out now, the most profitable thing they can do today is take 1, 2, 3, 4 hours without any electronics and sit down with a piece of paper and find out what in reality do I want? What do I want? Because everyone wants something different. They may like the same outcome, and they may do the same things to get similar things, but there's always some deeper root cause. And the big thing to finding this deep root cause is asking why. I want to become rich. Why do we want to become rich? Well, I want freedom. Well, why do you want freedom? Well, it's because I have a boss and that boss doesn't treat me right. Well, why don't you like that boss? Okay, etc., etc., etc. Ask why. So you find the deepest one. It may even go back to your childhood because something happened, right?
Absolutely.
Find the root
So
cause.
yeah, so is that everything from your bottom line?
It would be, yeah.
Okay, can you tell me, just for my information, how long have we gone today? How long has been the podcast so far?
It's close to 120, I think.
Oh, so we didn't go for 2 hours yet.
Yeah.
Then we're too short. Yeah, but okay. As we bring the 1.5 hour exploration of goals and visions to a close,
Yes.
I want to embrace this empowering realization, which is, in the pursuit of our goals, we don't just shape our reality, but we awaken to the fact that we are the architects of our own universe.
Oh, yes, of
So,
course.
so each goal you set is a bold stroke of your brush on the vast canvas of existence.
Yes.
So I want people to realize now that the power lies not merely in reaching these goals, but the profound effect of the act of creation itself. So the thing I'm trying to convey is that your vision is more than a goal. It's a testament to your ability to bend reality itself. And again, when I say that, I don't mean anything woo, I don't mean anything extraordinary. I just mean that you are not following the lines which were predetermined for you, but you are creating your very own future.
Yes. That's an awesome thing to end off.
Yeah,
It's the small things which compound, right? It's a
yeah.
compound effect. We go into that's a whole nother topic for itself. That's so powerful. Um, I want to say thank you for everyone coming today, and I think we have done our job at least to convey our message, convey what we want out of this.
Yeah. And again, leaving off everyone with the inspiration, or rather hope, that you dare to dream and that you set no limits upon you, because you truly are limitless. And again, Seb, as always, thank you for being here. Thank you for doing this with me. It means the world to me.
Mhm.
And it's been a freaking pleasure doing this again.